All right, well, welcome everyone to my studio. And in today's lesson, we're going to be painting these beautiful yellow tulips. And my dog Rose here wanted to get involved in this, but you know, her fur got in the way, so you didn't get to paint. Anyhow, I hope you stick around. We're going to be painting with the Catalyst Wedge tool and acrylic paint. And I've got everything here for you, and I hope you have a great time watching and enjoy this lesson. Bye. Say bye, Rose. Bye. Happy painting, everyone. Okay, so to start off with, I can, make it a little easier on myself. Just sketch out a little bit where these are going to go. So I'm going to use a little yellow oxide, and I'll use a paintbrush for this. And I'm just going to put in a few of these tulips that are in the photo. I might not put them all in. I want to just sort of go with the flow. And, I've painted tulips for so many years that I don't really even need a reference photo. So I just kind of, I'll look at it for just to give myself the inspiration, but I'm going to make a few of these tulips kind of flop around and kind of go different ways that I wouldn't get unless these were already almost dead. So I'm kind of having to go with a little bit of the inspiration of the actual tulips, and then I'm going to add a few of these ones that I like to see sort of kind of flopping down. So I might even make that one flopping down too. There's just more drama in them when they're kind of like that. So have some going off the canvas. Have a few of these ones that are falling down. I like them looking like that almost better, And then, so then I'll have maybe one more. You just sort of sketch it out and see what looks good as you go. When I'm painting this way, I would say if you want to paint something hyper realistic, then you don't do that. You want to really draw it just like the way it looks. So I'll have one other one sort of falling down here. How about that? So there's one kind of open, starting to fall. We got these ones really falling. So another thing you can kind of look out for is how many you've got. Sometimes you don't want an even number. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But these ones are going to be more kind of just off in the distance, so it doesn't really matter too much. You wouldn't want 8 perfectly lined up, you want to make sure that they're, and I don't mind, I kind of like to make them, some of them touch so that it also combines the whole shape for the composition. And I might make this one a little closer. So that's another thing, you don't want them both lined up like I have them straight in a row like that. So I'll kind of make one start further back. But I really like how these flowers begin to really, show up on this black canvas. And then we could fill in some of those tulip leaves, and I'll talk about how to kind of get those tulip leaf brush strokes in there. And then I think that should fill the whole space. Okay, so we're going to keep this really simple today, and well, at least I'm gonna try. Easier said than done. But I'm gonna start off with just some of that yellow oxide. So that's what it looks like. It's not transparent yellow oxide. it's just yellow oxide, and it's just the Blick brand, student kind of brand, so it's not overly expensive or anything. And I'm going to start off by kind of putting in some of the, so we're going to have the bright yellow, so you need it to show up. So that's why I'm going to use this yellow oxide to start with. I could even use a little bit of some burnt sienna in there just to warm up the center, and just add a little more yellow in there, kind of make a bit of a warm center, like burnt sienna and yellow. If you don't have the yellow oxide, works too. And I really just enjoy these videos because I've noticed what I've noticed in my regular art. So this is sort of like my experimental year, I call it. I've been doing these videos every week. So if you're new to this channel and you want to see something interesting, a new way of painting flowers with this, and I've done some birch tree paintings, but new way of painting kind of loose and free, then there's lots of videos because I've been doing this for almost a year, and it's it sure keeps me going, keeps me busy, and I've had a lot of good feedback. But what I've noticed is my regular bird paintings that I do, the backgrounds have gotten more interesting, and even the birds, because I'm used to making marks that I can't really, you know, make it perfect. And I always wanted to paint loose, and it's easier said than done, you know, with, you think, oh, well, that should be easy, but it is a lot trickier to paint loose than it is to paint more realistic. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you think it's harder just to loosen up and kind of do things a little more abstract, or is it easier for you to paint looser? Let me know what you think. I don't even know if I said that right because I'm trying to talk, and paint is not always the easiest. So anyhow, I'm going to add a little purple to that yellow oxide, and this is just Blick Liquitex Basics. It's called a purple gray. It's really pretty, and I thought that might work in nicely with the yellow. So put a little bit of that. I'm going to put that flower that's kind of, I want a flower that's going off in the distance here. So I'm going to put that back there. And of course, right when I start this class, one of the landscaper gardeners that's in our neighborhood here starts using his little saw, so hopefully that doesn't interrupt too badly. Okay, so far so good. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? So I'm now going to go with a lighter yellow. This is the Cad Yellow Deep, and this is also the Liquitex Basic Acrylic. Okay, so now I'm going to make some of those tulipy kind of petals that come down. You can add a little bit of that Cad Yellow light, or if you have a primary yellow on top there, just to give it that feeling of those leaves coming down. And I'm going to just kind of go down and add some of these petals in. And always, before, I'm used to looking at tulips, and I know, pretty much know them like the back of my hand, but always take one and really look at how it's made up. So if I take this, you can see it's got, each one has a kind of a middle part, and then from it the veins kind of come off out that way and then wrap around. So, and then there's these little spaces in between. So it really helps as you paint flowers to take a look and really see what's going on. Not that these are going to be super accurate, but I'm just saying for the overall feeling you can get, if I kind of put that, even with this big tool, the Catalyst wedge in, and wrap it around like the way I see it here, it still helps to get the feeling of the flower, even if it isn't perfect. I don't know if that really helps much, but we're just going for a lot of drama here today with this one. And I thought on the black canvas, those of you who are newer at painting, it gives you kind of an instant contrast. So with yellow flowers, believe me, doesn't matter how many years you've painted flowers, it's a real fine art painting yellow flowers. And I am not, it's not my specialty for sure, but you can really see an artist that knows how to mix color and do all that just right can really do justice to yellow flowers or yellow roses. You know, I got to study with Daniel Keyes at the Scottsdale Art School, and he can do yellow roses, so it makes it look so easy, and I can't for the life of me figure it out. But it also comes down to when you're really getting into yellow flowers, you want to really have good quality paint. So this is a very low quality yellow, so it's very transparent. It's almost like I'm putting layers of yellow paint that have been mixed in with some, you know, acrylic medium. So, but it's working because it's kind of giving the layers a really nice effect. And for what I'm making, it works well. But if I was painting a real, you know, more perfect kind of rose portrait or something in oil, I would want to use, and acrylic, I'd want to use higher grade paint. That's just my tip. Okay, so I've got out a little bit of this. I put out some of this Utrecht, and this is a kind of a student grade brand of the Cad Yellow Light Pure. And I'm going to just start adding a bit of the highlights to some of the tulips. But first I'm going to actually add a few of the greens to it. So I've mixed up on my palette, I'll show you. Haven't done a lot of color mixing in this. Everything's been right on the canvas, but I mixed some sap with some of this Cad Yellow Light, and it makes this nice green. So I'm going to use a bit of that for the leaves. So I'll start off, because we're on a black canvas, using that kind of more mid-tone value for the tulip petal. And oh, I missed a tulip here. Huh. Okay, I'll have to go and add that. I'm going to put in a few of the stems, and I'm going to put in a real tulipy petal like that. So I'm just kind of putting it on, and then I'm just kind of dragging that paint down as best I can. And I'll put in a few little stem shapes there. And just kind of put in a few of those leaves. Just adds a lot to it to have the green in there. You could have a leaf coming over that one that's in the background more. And you could add a little sap green just to put in some of that shadow. And I also would recommend, if it's too hard, it's a little bit difficult, you know, getting those marks in there like that, but you could, you know, just sort of get a little bit of a highlight here and there. And before I keep going, I want to just, I'll wipe that off and I'll put in that other tulip I missed. Just going to put a bit of it in there. And mix up a little bit of that purple color in and just kind of really abstractly put in a few highlights there. Okay, now while I've got that going, I've got that CAD light, and I want to work before it gets too dry. It's going to use up that paint, and then I'm going to wipe my catalyst. I realized my catalyst was mucking up the paint too much. Had too much purple on it. So I'm going to go and put a few of those highlights on. And I hope you like this video. If you're painting along, please let me know if you do paint along to these videos. It'd be nice to know. And I have a Patreon membership. You can sign up and get it. There's just hundreds of bird painting videos on there and seasonal videos. So if you want to paint some Christmas card type, you know, birds that you could use for a Christmas card and all that, or Christmas cows and stuff like that, I have lots of lessons on Patreon. Okay, so now I'm just gonna put a few of those little highlights on the tips of the tulip. Just to kind of finish it off. And then we'll see what we can do with the leaves, and then we'll try to keep it simple, so I'm not going to go too overboard on it. But that looks pretty fun. Okay, now one thing I like to do is add some other colors besides the yellow and the green. We got out some of this purple, So I could add a few little dabs of that purple in there because that goes with the yellow and it's kind of a good shadow color. And then I'll maybe take a little bit of this. I've got some pyrrole red. I could put a little bit of that red in some of those to show some of those lines that are in there, just to add a little bit more action and color and drama. I like to throw in the odd random bit of red and even some orange. You could put a little bit of that. And then sometimes even some blue. Just have fun is the main thing. This is like a exercise in loosening up that, you know, will help you with all your other paintings that you're trying to loosen up, but, you know, keep somewhat real. But it'll just add new things to your other paintings when you try something like this. So I hope you like this video. I think that's all for today. And just don't forget to hit the like button so YouTube will show my video to other people that want to paint like this. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching.